how do you see like the communication with that list? Like, is it somewhere I should be kind of providing value there like 80% of the time and then maybe like a pitch 20% of the time? Or is this something where it's like, hey, maybe you want to email them like once a week, maybe it's every single day? I'm curious, and the answer is probably going to be it's custom for everyone, but like I'm curious how you think about like that communication with the email list.
I think it comes down to what is the audience expecting, and what also like what are you selling at the end of the day? Like, so for example, for me, I have an agency that does email. I'm not a creator, right? Like a lot of the listeners, but I'm a marketer. And so at the end of the day, like people opt in for one of my lead magnets, and my goal is to get them on the phone to see if is their business in a place where we can help them make more money through the modality of email and SMS, right? And so for me personally, what I do is I email 3 times a week. But for me, it's usually direct response, some copywriting with some storytelling. Usually the call to action is always book a call. And that is limiting in some respects, but makes it really easy for me to be consistent, creating opportunity volume to get sales opportunities on the phone. And so, like, I think it really just comes down to the average person. Like, they're not a copywriter. Some of the people here might be, they might be, or they're designers or what have you. But like this email thing, it's it's a learned behavior. At the end of the day, the most important thing is consistency rather than like the perfect strategy or the perfect cadence or the perfect content. Right. Just like on TikTok, it's the same similar idea, just different modality. So if you're going to capture the emails, the most important thing is just being consistent setting, whether that's once a week or twice a week or 5 times a week, and then looking at what the metrics are in terms of the performance, just like they would look at their TikTok in terms of what's performing well and what isn't, knowing what good performance looks like, and using that as the compass to be like, do I keep going? Do I go harder? Do I pull back? And treating it sort of just like a one-to-one relationship with the audience. But for, I would say 99% of people, the most important thing is just like start small and just be consistent. If that means once a week for you, just send something once a week in the least to train the audience to get the impression from you in the inbox, if nothing else. And then it'll build from there.
So for those emails that you're sending out, you're providing like a call to action in the majority of them, right? To book a call. They're less so like, hey, here's like my email marketing tip of the week. There's not too many of like those just like pure like valuable style email.
No, so from the lion's share of what I do is straight like direct response, like with the call to action, book a call. There's like, and personally for me, it's just like with I look at the newsletter, like your example you described as like media, right? Yep. And for me, it's just come down to not a priority and don't have the bandwidth to do it well. So I just haven't done it. You know what I mean? It's been a very like cognizant decision that I made not to do it yet.
Right. And so let's take like resources completely aside, right? If it was something that, you had someone on your team who could create that stuff, pretty easily, is that something you would implement? Like you see value in having that like newsletter style communication almost?
For sure. Part of the reason I haven't done it is because there's a lot of noise out there and nothing is unique. And so if I want to do it, I want it to be fire. Maybe that's limiting belief to some extent on my end. But like I want it to be dope, and if it's just the same as everyone else, I'm just like, I'd rather not take the time or the energy. But the other side of the coin, dude, is from a marketing standpoint, is in having it. And let's say I'm send that even once a week or whatever. That's still another impression in the inbox, another way to build equity with the market. And when I do drop a link in one of those, whether it be direct response in like call to action or in the footer, I'll get calls from it too. So it's just sort of like. Just one of those things. It's just not something that I've prioritized so far, but I'm not opposed to it. Again, I just know that if you with the email stuff, if like you're not consistent, ultimately the list will sort of like decay, like a piece of ice on the counter, right? If you're not hitting it up consistently, getting the impressions, it will ultimately people will tune out. And if you might, or listeners might have seen this, where you email a few times, things look great, then 6 months you don't do anything, and then you send again and no one opens and no one clicks, is because the list is gone. You have no equity anymore.
Right.
And so for me, I've just been like, I want to do it, but it's not fire. So I don't like believe in it in my heart of hearts. Like what I'm doing, this isn't time well spent. So I'm just going to keep on my direct response and just get calls and drive the business. But I know there's a place for that and it's coming, but I just haven't prioritized it at this point.